Okay, now kind of put your mind at ease a little bit. Your final. 8 of the problems, there's 17 problems. 8 of them come from that assessment that you took, or no, 5 of them come from that test you took 2 days ago. 8 of them come from what you did yesterday at the greater than lesson, and then the other 4 are going to come from what I'm doing here. All right, now people ask me all the time, how do you know whether you have to set up that table with 9 boxes? Well, very easy. If you have 3 underlying units, you set it up. But if you only have 2, you're not gonna. You're gonna do something we did earlier. If you don't remember it, that's what this is for. The tank has 20 gallons of propane. I fill the tank at a rate of 4 gallons per minute. When I'm done, the tank has 80 gallons. For how many minutes did I fill this tank? Okay, now this one I am not going to draw that chart because there's only 2 units here. So 2 units, gallons and minutes. So if I only have 2 units, I want to set these side boxes up. Okay, you remember that? And then this box here, okay? That's how you want to format it if there's only 2 units. There's either going to be 2 or 3. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is write the 2 units, gallons and minutes. Now, I have put in the problem what you should have as X and what you should have as Y. Now, gallons is Y, and minutes is X. Then with the 2 units, you want to make a rate of change. You write per, and whatever X is goes on beneath it, okay? X is minutes, so minutes goes beneath it, and then the Y goes on top over it, gallons per minute, okay? Now, when you're looking for the per, there should be a number here. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. It's either per or each, so I'm reading it. A tank has 20 gallons of propane, not there. I fill the tank at a rate of 4 gallons per minute, so it's 4, okay? So gallons per minute is 4. So now what I do is I make a line, okay, straight line, and label it Y, MX, Y, okay? Now what you do is you take the M out, you just scribble that out, and you put what this is over here. It's 4, okay? Because when the action starts, it goes 4 gallons per minute. So I don't know how many 4s there are, so that's why the X is attached to it. Now you also need to get rid of this first Y right here. And what came before 4? What number? Well, 20. It's 20 gallons, which is Y, so I put a 20 down here. And then the equation is very easy to write. You just write 20 plus, you're always going to want to put a plus, okay? 4x equals y. You can have a plus here and equals here. So write the equation. 20 plus 4x equals y. Okay, now I just need to plug in for the right letter. Now, you take the final number in the problem, 80 gallons. So I'm going to write 80 gallons. Now I got to decide which letter that would go in for. Well, here's gallons. Gallons is Y, so it goes in for the Y. Now, there's nothing in front of the Y, so I'm going to scribble that out and just put 80. Okay, now I need to get the X by itself because it's not by itself. So I dot your 4X, and then I have a 20 outside, minus it, don't plus it. It's positive, so you minus it. And 4.x equals 60. And then divide by 4, and x is 15. Now, if you're wondering what the label should be, that's the answer for x, and x is minutes. Okay, so 15 minutes. Okay, let's go to the next one. I'm going to need a calculator for the next one. Let me go up and get it. Same thing. It's kind of the same idea. A racetrack charges a $40 registration fee. They charge each racer $50 for each race. How much will 8 races cost? Okay, so there's only 2 units, here and here. So I know with 2 units I don't make that chart. I make the side. Okay, so the units are dollars and races. You can clearly see what's underlined. Dollars and races. Okay, and I tell you which one's X, which one's Y. Y is money, and X is races. Now, per, you got to write this correctly. The X goes beneath it, okay? So race, and then money. Okay, remember, when I'm looking through the problem, I need a number that is dollars each race or per race. It could say each or per. They mean the same thing. Racetrack charges a $40 registration fee. There was no each or per there. They charge each racer $50 for each race. There's each, so that means per. So the dollars per race is 50. Okay, now I make a line, and I put Y, MX, and Y. Okay, so my M is 50. And before the $50 in the problem, I had $40. So I replace the Y with 40. Okay, and remember, this is plus and this is equals. So I just write the equation, 40 plus 50x equals Y. Sorry, I wrote that wrong. Okay, so the last number is 8 races. Now it's races. Races is X, so that's going in for the X variable. Now the X is here, but there's a 50 in front of it, so we want to put it in parentheses before we cross it out and put 8. Now the Y is by itself, so when I'm solving for Y, it's already by itself. I just need to plug this into the calculator because the letter I want to find the answer for, Y, is by itself. So I just plug in this side into my calculator. So 40 plus 50, parentheses 8, 440. So this side is now 440 equals Y. Okay, now Y is this, what Y, okay? So Y is money, so it'd be $440. Got to put that last number in for the right letter. Okay, it says up here which to put it in for. Okay, number 3. A gym charges a membership fee. They then charge members $50 per month. 5 months will cost $325. What will the total cost be for 12 months? Okay, so again, you have 2 units. So with 2, I want to go with this route. The units, the line, and then the equation. So I have dollars and months. And it says Y is dollars, so equals Y, months is X. You don't do that, you're pretty much going to get it wrong. So per dollars per month. You always want to put the X under it. Okay. Okay, so there's $50, and that says per month, so $50 per month. Now, here's where the trouble starts. Okay, so my M is 50. Okay. And we also have to replace this with a dollar amount, but the problem is, in this problem, I don't have a dollar amount that comes before $50. It's not $325 because that's after the $50 per month. It's got to come before it, okay? So I don't know what to put there. Well, there's an equation you write. Y equals M dot X plus B. And I need to write combo, okay? The M is 50. Scribble it out, put 50 above it. Okay, now for X and Y, because we need to get rid of these 2 as well. You leave the B alone. You don't put anything in for the B, because that's whatever I get for B, that goes here. Now, for the combo, I got to have a number here, a number here. I need to find 2 of these numbers, one of the dollars, one of months in the same sentence, okay? So that's $50, but there's nothing in the sentence with it. 5 months will cost $325. They're in the same sentence, so I write those two things. 5 months, $325. Now, but which one's X and which one's Y? Okay, well, here's months. Well, months is X, so this is going in for X, and then this would go in for Y. So Y was here, 325, and then I need to put a dot with 5, okay? So I have 325 equals, and I need to take 50 times 5, okay? So 50 times 5 is 250. And then I put plus B, but I put a 1 in front of the B, dot it, and circle it, okay? You put a 1 in front of it. So outside that circle, we have a 250 we need to subtract. And then I would subtract it from 325. And that gives me 325 minus 250 is 75. And if the dot number's a 1, you can just get rid of it. And I know that 75 goes here. So again, if we don't know if we don't have a number that came before, B before, I'm using Y equals M dot X plus B. Y, M, and X go away. The M is from here. And then the combo, you got to look for 2 of each unit in the same sentence, goes in for X and Y. Then you times. And then whatever you get when you times, you add or subtract, depending on if it's negative or positive. All right, so now I can write the equation. 75 plus 50x equals y. Okay, now the final number in the problem is 12 months. Put the label with it, because the label tells me where that should go. So months is x, so it goes in for x. Okay, so the x is here. Before I scribble it out, I need to replace it with a parentheses because there's a 50 in front of it, and then 12. And that y is all by itself, okay? So I just plug this into the calculator. Okay, you don't need to get the other letter by itself. It's already there. So 75 plus 50, parentheses 12, and I get 675. Okay, now your answer is y, and y is money, so $675. Remember, when you put the number in for x, you can just use your calculator. But if you put it in for y, you got to dot and circle and get the x by itself. Okay, number 4. A tank is full, then it starts leaking. After 2 hours of leaking, the tank has 90 gallons of gas. After 5 hours of leaking, it has 75 gallons. How many hours does it take, should say take, T-A-K-E, does it take a full tank to run empty, meaning when is it going to have 0 gallons from its full amount? So again, there's 2 units. And so I want to set up the problem using this method, not the 9 boxes. So I've got hours and gallons. So the x would be hours, because that's what it says it needs to be. I'll tell you which one's x, which one's y. Okay. If you're wondering how you know, the time's always x, but I don't want people getting it wrong just because that. So per, now y, now the x goes on the bottom. Whatever the time is goes on bottom, then gallons per hour. Well, the problem is, that doesn't say it's per hour. That doesn't say nothing. I don't see any per. I don't see any each. So basically, I don't know what this is, okay? It's not in the problem. So what are we going to do to figure it out? Well, there's a formula for that too. And it is y minus y divided by x minus x. Now, when using this, okay, you have to understand y is gallons. The gallons labels have to be on top, and then the hours go on bottom. Okay, so set that up. So look for your 2 gallons amounts, okay? Don't use the last one. That's for down here. Well, I got 90. And for gallons, I also have 75. So 90 minus 75. And then what are the hours? Go in the order they're given. You have 2 hours first. Keep reading, then you have 5. Okay, so 90 minus 75 is 15. And 2 minus 5 is negative 3. Now 15 divided by negative 3 equals negative 5, so I put negative 5. Now you're like, should that be a negative? Yeah, because it's leaking, okay? So the gallons are getting smaller. Okay, so I figured that out. If we don't know the per, y minus y, x minus x, make sure the y label numbers are on top, the x are on bottom. Okay, so line y, mx, and y. So I know my m is negative 5. I also need the beginning amount before I go down and do anything here. Problem is, did I even have negative 5 in this problem? Did I? No, I didn't. I figured that out for myself. So if I had to figure that out for myself, I don't know what we have down here. Well, the beginning amount is y equals m dot x plus b. And we scribble these first 3 out. We keep the b in it. So the m is negative 5. And then for x and y, I need a combo. They have to be in the same sentence. So 2 hours of leaking, comma, the tank has 90 gallons, so that'll work for my combo. 2 hours, 90 gallons. You want to put the label so you know which letter they go in for. 2 hours. Well, hours is x. So that's x. This would obviously be y then. Okay, so here was y, and we're going to put 90 above it. And here's x. We're going to put it times 2 right there. So I have 90 equals. Now I got to take negative 5 times 2, and that's negative 10 plus b. Put a 1 in front of the b, dot it, and circle it. You do that every time. Now I have a negative 10 I need to get rid of. Well, it's negative, so I would add 10. And 90 plus 10 is 100 equals 1 dot b, but if it's a dot with a 1, I can just ignore it. So I have 100. So now I can write my equation. 100 plus negative 5x equals y. Okay, and then the final number in the problem is 0 gallons. Now, what letter represents gallons? It's y, okay? So that equals y. So here's the y. There's nothing in front of it, so I can just scribble it out. I don't need to use a parentheses. I just put 0. And then I need to get the x by itself because it's not by itself. You need to dot it and circle it. You have 100 here, so you're going to subtract 100. Subtract it from this side, the 0. So negative 5 dot x. There's nothing else there, so I can write equals. 0 minus 100 is negative 100. And then we divide. Okay, negative 100 divided by negative 5, it's positive 20. Here, look. Got it. So x equals 20. Now, this is the answer for x. X is hours, so it took 20 hours. Okay, so if I don't have the per given to me in the problem, we're using this, okay? Look up here, so what goes where? And if I don't know what the beginning amount, I'm using this. Okay. Number 5, last problem. A bait store sells minnows and leeches. Minnows are sold for $2.50 per pound, while the leeches are sold for $1.50 per pound. The store raises a total of $52.50. If they sell 12 pounds of minnows, how many pounds of leeches would they sell? Okay, we have 3 units here. It's actually easier than what you did a couple days ago, though, you'll see. So with 3 units, you want to make your 9 box thing. So total, and then money, and then the money for a single unit, and then how many units. And then minnows and leeches, so MIN and L. Okay, so this is going to be easier than you think. What's the money amount? You got 5250. Okay, cross that out. Okay, now look for a non-money amount. You have 12, but it's not the total. It's 12 pounds of minnows. So it will not go here, it will go here. So then what I do is I scribble that out. That's going to be blacked out. And I don't know this, so that's X. And I cross out the 12. Now we always take this out. And now look for money amounts. So I have $2.50, and that's for the minnows. And $1.50 is for the leeches. Okay, so I'm actually going to times 12 by 2.50. 30. And then that would be 1.50x. Now you have a nice easy equation here. This is the only x you have. You can easily solve for it. There's no y in the table. So 30 plus 1.50x equals 52.50. So I dot the 1.50 and circle it. Then I just minus 30 minus 30. So 1.50x. So I take 52.50 minus 30, and that's 22.5. Then divide by 1.50. Divide by 1.50. And that's the only answer I need to find, okay? Because there's 15, okay? So 15. So down here in the corner I wrote pounds of leeches, and that's 15. Okay. All right, so again, if they actually tell me if that non-money number goes in one of these two, that's good. That's not bad, okay? That means I don't need y at all. I just have one answer.